All right. Hey, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Dan Schneider's Game Shakers featuring Pro Jared.
Add my Snapchat.
Show me your feet. Show me it now. So, I know it's been a while since the last episode.
5 months.
Life kind of
5 months ago.
Yeah, you know how it'd be. Life finds a way to fuck you over.
Life
So,
finds
you
a way to
know.
fuck you over, and then you do a let's play.
and then you play Hotline Miami.
I think the let's plays are the midlife crisis of a channel, and we've had this for like less than a year.
We had a midlife crisis after 2 videos.
2 videos, and then we are like, all right, we're a gaming channel now.
Gaming gamers. Anyways, today we're here to talk about things that scared us as kids, TV shows, video games, sort of stuff that freaked you out when you were a wee little tyke.
A wee lad.
There's a lot for me.
You were a horrified by the world comment.
I really was. I'm not gonna
The
lie.
world was horrified by you.
I bet.
I was horrified by a lot of things, but I think I just avoided a lot of them.
I had a morbid curiosity that made me want to look into them more. So that made it worse.
Oh, fun.
Well, we'll get into that in a second. First, let's take a look back at a few comments from our previous podcast 5 months ago. We asked video games that defined other people's childhoods.
Oh yeah.
And we got 2 responses.
And we're not gonna read them. No,
Monster.
we are.
You know what, Curb? You read them.
You know what? Fine. I will read them. From Inti 1415, the year Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Don't fact check that. It's hard to say which one defined my childhood. I think it was the first video game I had when I was very young, which was the Buzz Lightyear Game Boy Color, based off of that animated series, and was amazed by it. Then later on, I got Pokemon Blue, which I remember playing a lot. Later on in elementary school, getting a GBA and playing it very often, usually Pokemon and Kingdom Hearts Re-Chain.
My man was a fucking mobile gamer. Fake
Man, he was
gamer.
mobile.
Fake gamer. Look at this man.
He's on the
Amazed
move.
by Buzz Lightyear.
That's great, Inti. Thank you for commenting.
It's very basic. Yes, good job.
I had a GBA too. I still got it. I just need to find a battery and
Mine's up
charge
there. You
I
can't see where I'm
fucking
pointing.
skipped the GBA. I got a Game Boy Color first when I was like fucking 6 years old, and I like strong armed it from another child.
Oh my god.
I was kind of a monster.
Who's reading the second one?
I'll do it to repent for my sins. I'm sorry, child. I pestered into giving me that Game Boy Color.
But at the same time, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, fuck you. That was a great. It was a great period. This next one's from Manchild Incorporated. As far as I remember, what got me into playing video games, he said it in all caps.
He did.
I had to.
Very important.
Was ... I have no clue. I just started playing video games. For some of the video games that define my childhood, I'd say those would probably be the 2 PS2 Scooby-Doo games, Final Fantasy X or 10, I guess, and Kingdom Hearts 1. I don't know how to count. Adding on to this, some more games that define my childhood would include Halo 1 through 3 and Sonic Unleashed for the Xbox 360. You lucky bastard. When I was a kid, I had to play the like PS2 and Wii versions of Sonic Unleashed.
Ah, man,
like,
Sonic
cut out,
Unleashed
like,
on the Xbox was a different animal.
They cut out like an entire area from the game, I'm pretty sure.
That sucks.
Funny
Very
how like
A
diverse
diverse,
Wii versions were mid though.
very diverse library. Nice.
The only Scooby-Doo games I played as a kid were I had like a plug and play game. It's the one from that JonTron video where Scoob looks like he's fucking the mystery van.
No.
He's going to town.
Yeah.
Who knew that the mystery van was just a white woman?
What the fuck? Oh no.
All right, moving on.
I'll be here all night. Tip your waitresses.
Yeah, so let's move on to the topic. Now the main reason I thought up this recently was if you pay attention to the internet at all, you'd probably realize a giant surge of horror content aimed at children.
Sucks.
And it's very obvious where this came from. A powerful entity known as Freddy Fazbear.
Oh boy.
He started it
Project
all.
F.
He infected the internet with his dark power. I ain't gonna lie. I think I mentioned it in the FNAF video, but when FNAF 1 came out, I fucking like latched onto that shit as
Same.
hard as I could.
I think a lot of people did. It was
My
just
like sort of.
I
No,
saw
you
the
first.
Markiplier video. We'll take turns. I'll give my FNAF
you
origin
first.
story, then comic, and go. Then you,
Yeah.
Kurt. You're last because you're subhuman.
yeah, Kurt.
Ay, caramba.
Exactly. I caught the Markiplier video, like I'm sure a lot of people did. I didn't even know who Markiplier was. It just kind of popped up on YouTube, and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And I wasn't
Oh.
even big into horror back then, but that thumbnail, something about it was just so weird. And I watched it, and like everyone else, I got latched onto the craze. I was looking into the website for secret hints at the next game and watching all the MatPat videos. And I'm not ashamed to admit that to this day I don't watch any other MatPat videos because I find them kind of boring. But
Does
I will
anyone?
watch those FNAF theories till the day I fucking die. They'll be playing like part 127 on my deathbed from Cyborg MatPat.
But I mean, don't you want to listen to Matt Pat talk about how the villagers are Jewish?
I wanna hear his boob theory. Don't you remember the boob theory?
What?
It was
I don't
it
keep
was
up
like
with
Mario.
that.
What?
Real tough.
It's like one of his first videos, and it's just him like singing about like boobs or something. And I think he admitted later he only did it to like get views.
Ah. Yeah, that
Who
sounds like
doesn't?
Matt
Tommy, edit in
I
some
will-
boobs in the
I
thumbnail
will
of this video
not.
so we get views.
I love you, Matt Pat. I just don't really care that much for your content. I like his live videos though. He's a very charismatic person.
I agree. I agree.
All right, you next comment.
All right, my turn. I got introduced. It's almost the same story, but it wasn't Markiplier. It was when Nate Wants to Battle decided to divert his attention into playing video games. And since it was getting popular at the time, I assume because Markiplier played it, he jumped on it, and then I saw it. I got into it, and I followed it as religiously as I could without actually owning the game, because at the time I didn't have money. And so I only got to play it because when I went to school, some dude had like an illegal version of it on a thumb drive, and he passed it around the class.
Contraband.
My man. I was chicken shit too. I never actually played them. The only time I did was when I don't tell the police when I
Until the police are good.
I got my hands on FNAF 2 on a tablet through some special means. We don't need to go. I was a kid.
We were
Don't-
all
don't-
kids once, Jordan. It's okay.
There's
Look,
no
they were-
evidence I destroyed
Look, the federal
tablet.
government just hired more IRS agents. You better watch your door.
Oh no! Wait, I just got a text message. What's this? Don't move.
But
Be very still.
yeah, I followed all the game releases. I wasn't in the like fandom of it, but I would listen to like the music that people would put out about it. I would watch the MatPat lore videos because of course I did. I would like just look up anything I could about it, but I never really wanted to play the games.
For those MatPat videos, do you remember the first one where like he barely tried to talk about the lore and instead he tried to connect it to like a real life shooting for some reason?
I don't know.
That shit was weird. He
Matt
just kinda,
Pat looked.
like,
Matt
never
Pat looked at the
acknowledged
Las
it.
Vegas shooting and said, "This just reminds me like FNAF."
No.
Hey! This Columbine thing is just like Postal 2.
Yo, what was his name? I forget the name of the shooters, but this guy reminds me of William Afton.
Oh, I can't believe the fucking guy obsessed with the Danny Phantom Ghost Girl was experimenting with Remnant.
Oh man. All right, Kirby, you go.
All right, so for I think most of my experience with FNAF was like I don't think I played a single one really that I can remember until we did the VR video. And the most of my experience with FNAF was like it's like a bystander looking at like a car crash where when I started high school, I was around that time. I don't remember when, but I would see like my friends on their phone just playing this game. It was like it's like this looks boring as shit. What's going on here?
The
And then
lore.
and then that would happen every like single day to the point where I'm sort of just confused. And then I was like, "Oh, this is a new game." And then over time, I didn't really give it too much of give it too much time of day just cuz like when Undertale came out, I got really into that cuz that game was quality. And
Tier.
but yeah, for the most part FNAF has just kind of been like I'm looking at a car crash far away. And then I ended up finding the Markiplier videos like digging through the attic or something. And then I found it's like, "Hey, I don't know what this game's about. Let me watch this popular man play it." And then I was like, "Wow, this game is yeah, I'm not playing this shit." Half of it was like, I'm gonna get scared because I don't do jump scares that well. Other half of it is if I get good at this game, I'm gonna just start raging like Mark did when he was trying to do the harder levels.
Oh
So that's
God.
that's mostly been my experience, but a lot of the fan music was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, no. There's a ton of based FNAF music
Oh
out
yeah.
there.
That's
I'm
I
I'm
was more into that than that in the lore than actually
Yeah,
playing the game.
I
I
mean,
I liked lore, but it was like,
I played
eh.
the first couple stages of every game, and I really only liked a couple. I liked 1, 2, and 4. 3 sucked. If 3's the one where it's with Springtrap,
three.
right?
Yeah, three
Okay.
is
3 is
awful.
garbage.
It's not well designed. I like.
It was a tax write
I
off.
think 2 might be my favorite.
4, I think, is the best one personally. I think
4 has some great
the
like
reliance on
atmosphere.
sound makes it far more terrifying than any other game. Because with FNAF 2, I eventually just kind of zone out and it's no longer scary. I just see it purely in terms of game mechanics. But in 4, you have to like immerse yourself into the game to like detect where they are.
Yeah.
It gets you from like the first level to the last level in a way the others don't.
That's why I
FNAF
never
4.
continued playing it because I was too scared.
Yeah, man.
That's why
I
So
2 is
Jordan,
my favorite.
Jordan, so you're saying that FNAF 4 really made you feel like a schizophrenic child?
FNAF 4 really made you feel like a child.
Makes you feel like a child. 8 out of 10.
The exaggerated swagger of a bite victim.
A lobotomite.
No. I also would give. I'm not sure how to really explain it, but I'm also a fan of Sister Location. Its gameplay is really like hard to pin down. It's not the best, but I think its variety is what helps it stay interesting all the way through.
Now that game I haven't played yet. I didn't look into it. I haven't played it. I've only heard about it. Same for Security Breach. I haven't looked. I've seen someone play it, but I haven't played it
I
myself. I
watched
don't really
Jordan play
have
it.
much
Se-
interest in it.
Security Breach is interesting because I like that it's putting out new ideas for gameplay, and I really think if we got a sequel that was more refined, it could be like the best FNAF game just in terms of raw playing it. Cause I like that you get to free roam around. I like that it kind of takes aspects from like a Metroid game. The main issue is just that a lot of these aspects feel a little half baked.
Mm.
So it comes out not bad, just like charmingly okay. Like it is, if you like FNAF, you'll enjoy playing it. I think as long as you can deal with the glitches, which even then I think if some of them have been patched out by now. But like, it definitely feels like there should be a sequel that adds a lot to these ideas.
The
Because
shitposts from that game are great though.
oh yeah, no. I love the most of the stuff around it. The memes are great, you know.
Yeah. I think
The voice acting's
you
really good. There's some really funny scenes. I like that you get to just straight like murder the animatronics unlike in every other game. You just flat like run them over.
I also like
crushing.
the Gregory memes. Those were great for a while.
Oh yeah, no, they're
You
they're
know,
top tier.
yeah, Gregory, don't fall for it. Vanessa's a 7 at best.
It needs like it'll need a sequel where you play as freaking. It's just a ripoff of that one Nicolas Cage movie where he's stuck in there with the animatronics, and he
Oh
just
yeah, where he
murders
said,
all
"If I
of
was in
them.
FNAF, if I was in FNAF, I would have handled it."
It's like a
Just saying.
spin-off game.
Nick Cage, man.
That could be fun, yeah. I think FNAF by itself is a very cool game, but I think it's done awful things for like the indie game market. Cause like Hello Neighbor is
Oh
awful.
god.
Huggy Wuggy had cool ideas, but instead of leaning into the puzzle gameplay and being kind of like a spiritual successor to Valve style like physics puzzles,
Mhm.
it's just NFTs and like 1 hour gameplay.
Big sad.
Five Nights at Freddy's and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race.
But I do find it kind of interesting that these games do so well with like the child audience. It
Oh,
is very clear
absolutely.
from stuff like these that kids like to be scared.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
and I think
Absolutely.
it always feels like there's not enough of a market for that. Like fucking before this, what did we have really? Like those bad 90s kids horror shows from Canada and the Goosebumps books.
Slender
Goosebumps.
Man.
But Goosebumps, Slender Man was not for kids. The kids just latched onto it. There's
Yep.
a difference there. That's what
Slenderman's tall
happens
and white.
though.
That's why the youngins love him.
Whoa.
That's
Whoa.
what happens though. When the kids don't have anything, they just latch onto shit they probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just to go back to Goosebumps for a second though, that was my shit as a kid. But I should probably save that for like the actual topics here.
We could have a
Let's get
Goosebumps
into what
episode.
scares us as kids.
Scared us. I mean, I can start things off with one of the most iconic movie things that I didn't realize. So growing up as a kid, a lot of I would hang out a lot with my cousins, and we like to mainly look at some more comedic stuff. So they showed me Scary Movie when I was like uh young teens, and I thought it was really funny, and that was my first introduction to Ghostface, Scream. So yeah, I hung out a lot with my cousins. We watched just a ton of movies. A lot of those movies were sort of the hee hee hee, we're not supposed to watch this kind of thing. Like what was it? Seth MacFarlane's masterpiece Ted, the greatest movie to have ever been made. But one of the major ones was Scary Movie, and that was my introduction to Ghostface or the Scream or whatever the fuck you want to call him. And I didn't know that he was from an actual like horror movie at the time.
Mhm.
So just some random day, I hop by, I look at I pass by, my cousins are watching a movie, and right as I'm watching, it's like, oh, this has got to be like Scary Movie. This is gonna be funny. It's the chase scene, and then like, oh, I see a woman just get stabbed by Ghostface, and I immediately run the fuck out of the room. Because I
Where's
was
the
like, oh,
fun?
this it's the guy, it's the what's up guy. He's gonna do the funny, and then I just see him like
It's
Wow.
stab
Shaggy
a woman.
Rogers. Oh god.
Oh no.
God, I don't see. It's so funny to me that like just that slight shift of tone would fuck you up so bad because
I was a
I
kid.
watched
I was a kid. I was an
I watched
emotional
Scary
kid.
Movie too, and there's like a lot of murder in that too.
Yeah, but it feels all slapstick.
It not to me when I watched it. Like as an adult, I still was like,
Yeah,
ew.
the fucking the funniest one is like the lady that just keeps like yelling at him and like acting like he's fake as like parts of her body are being like chopped off and stabbed. That kind of fucked with me as a kid because I did the same thing where I watched Scary Movie before I watched any real horror films. I
Right.
thought I was so cool and big.
Yeah,
I
you think you're the shit.
I triumphantly told my grandma, and I think they were like, "Oh, a scary movie." And I was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
we should
I
really
guess they
beat
didn't
the
like
fuck out of you for that.
that." Yeah, it was so funny. But yeah, I watched those movies a lot as a kid. I thought they were fucking comedy gold.
I thought you could not get any more funnier than that.
I still stand by the first one and the third one having a few funny bits.
I need to rewatch like the rest of them, but I do remember one just being an instant classic.
I've only seen the first and the second. So.
A lot of those other parody movies at the time are shit, but I like the first one. I like the third one. I kind of like the superhero movie parody one too, but that's just because there's like a few specific scenes I love, like
That's the one
when
with
he's like,
is that with Drake Bell?
yeah, it's the one where he's like, there's
Okay.
gonna be money, fame, and then Uncle Ben's like, don't forget the bitches.
Yeah.
Oh man, Drake Bell, that did not age well, huh?
Oh no.
He didn't exactly take that responsibility.
No. Great power, but no responsibility.
Great power, and that's where it ends.
Yeah, if we want to lean into like the first sort of scary shit we saw as a kid, I was going back to Goosebumps. I was big into those as a kid. That was like the first horror thing I could stomach. I'd always read them and like proudly tell the plots of them to people. like that was some big accomplishment.
The
But
Goosebumps master.
I couldn't watch the show, which was the funny bit. Like I'd be like, yeah, no, the books are fine. Then I'd see like a singular clip of the show and I'd freak the fuck out and couldn't look at the TV. That was me with a lot of stuff, honestly. Like I'd see that like Mr. Meaty puppet show from like Nickelodeon. I'd look at it for 1 second and I'd have to leave the room.
That sounds horrifying.
I had like nightmares about those puppets. That shit was
Jesus
bad.
Christ.
I'd also like just freak out if anyone ever put like Adult Swim on the TV. Cause
Oh
like
yeah,
I was told you weren't allowed to watch it, so like
the
I
Forbidden
assumed
Channel.
it was bad. And I'd like freak the fuck out if it was on and I was in the room. It didn't help that I'm pretty sure I like one time in my life experienced that one fucking bumper waking up in the morning.
Oh yeah, you
Like
buffoon.
the eyes where it's like the dawn is your enemy.
The dawn is your enemy.
Yeah, cut in that image for a second. That shit like scars a kid.
Just the kids like, I'm gonna watch some Ninjago in the morning, and then you just get traumatized for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You're
All
sitting
right,
in a therapist room.
you got one ready?
Oh boy. So,
What got you?
um, I was a very, very, very sheltered kid, right? So I could have a intense reaction to like almost anything.
Mhm.
And the very first like form of media that I remember being scared by was the Leprechaun movies.
What?
Yes, because my I think my dad was watching it in the living room, and I walked in, and all I see is this like it's a dark scene. This grown man is being beaten up by this tiny short goblin thing, and he gets thrown around and then gets jackhammered into his chest, and that frightened the crap out of me.
Oh no, it's the leprechaun. He's gonna ask for his gold.
And then there was another scene where like he was like pretending to be a cat, like meowing, and then someone went looking for the cat and he like grabbed them and bit their hand. I was terrified to go look at like bushes and stuff as a kid. Because I would like, what if there's a leprechaun in there? I don't know.
What if there's an Irishman in there? What if there's a dirty spud in
He
there?
bites my hand. Yeah, I was never exposed to like spooky stuff as a kid because my family was really religious. But
Mhm.
like when I was still a kid, my dad was really he would still like watch spooky movies when he thought like, you know, nobody
kids have
was
gone to
the
bed.
kids are gone, yeah. So he would just do whatever he wanted. And those are the times where like I accidentally wandered into chaos. I had a friend in elementary school. He loved horror movies. And so he would tell me about the ones he liked. Because he was my best friend, I listened to them. So I got secondhand scaring of everything he would talk about, and I had no idea what he would like. I had no idea what he was talking about, so my own imagination freaked me out, thinking about the possibilities of whatever he was saying. Jeepers Creepers. I had never watched the movies, but hearing him talk about like this monster killing people sent me into a downward spiral of despair. I was a I was a really goofed kid. I read there's the only one time where I kind of like sought out for spooky stuff. I was at the library and I didn't want to read any Goosebumps books because I thought it would be too scary for me.
Ooh,
So next
great.
to them, there were some, I don't remember what brand they were, but they were just kind of like a notch down. They weren't name brand Goosebumps. They were kind of knockoff Goosebumps. And I
My
read
man got
those,
store
and they
brand
were
Goosebumps.
more confusing than they were scary.
Aw, man, we're here with the Walmart value
We
Goosebumps.
got the Animorphs.
And I
We
would
don't talk
just
about vampires.
I would just get scared by just the thoughts and ideas of anything not normal. Any paranormal ideas would freak me out. I was freaked out when a full moon would hit because of werewolves. I didn't stay out too late because vampires could be outside. You never know. The one that freaked me out because it was the same vein as Leprechaun, where this one I actually like saw the movie, was the I think it came out in 2002. I was a little kid. It was the Mothman movie, which the only scene I saw about it, yeah, the Mothman got a movie. It's it's these two people. They walk into this barn and they look up and there's just bodies hanging from the ceiling, and then this
Oh no.
moth, this giant creature with bright red eyes, flies out at them and attacks them. And that's all I saw, and I was never the same. Oh, before that, I think the thing that messed me up the most was watching War of the Worlds as a kid.
Ooh.
Because there's only one scene in that movie where it's really creepy, and that's where they're like hiding down in that building, and they send in like a drone or something to scoop around to see if there's any people living in there, and it's just so tense and scary, and I freaked out about aliens invading too at night. Nighttime was an awful time for me. That's probably why I can't sleep well at night.
Nighttime is like,
Because
you gotta
in the
be on
daytime,
guard.
nothing's gonna kill me but the leprechaun, maybe. But at night, anything goes, and I'm just completely terrified to exist outside of my room. It sucked.
Tommy liked FNAF so much he decided to play a survival horror game in real life.
But yeah, I would just freak out over anything as a little kid. I loved spiders until I realized spiders were predators and that they could bite you and inflict you with toxin. And I was scared of spiders.
You're
My
fucking
God.
scarred.
There's one strange case where it doesn't make any sense until, while thinking of the topic for this video, I remembered why. And there was, I don't remember what movie specifically, but there's a Pokemon movie that came out when I was a little kid, and there's a scene of Pikachu running around with all these little Pokemon. I think they were actually just baby Pokemon, because it probably came out, probably like a Gen 2 movie, I don't know. But they were all hanging out on some like brick area, and a little tiny pink Snubble walks in and just starts yelling and barking at him. He's like being antagonistic to the whole team of Pokemon. And
I think that's the thing that plays before the first Pokemon movie.
It might
time
be.
you see, like, Snubble.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I remember being so freaked out by that tiny pink bulldog that it scared me, and I think I might have cried. And I know why that is now, and it's because I think I was bitten by like a bulldog when I was a really small kid. I think I was like a toddler. And
you survived?
It was like a dog that didn't know any better that was trying to play, and it just like
Bullshit.
And since I was a little baby, when it went to like gnaw at my face, it had my whole face in its mouth. But I didn't get like sent to the hospital or anything for it because it didn't really bite me. It was just like gnawed on my face. I think I might have a scar from it though. It's like a tiny little cut on my head. But I remember my mom told me that story a long time ago. I never
Surprised
connected
a
the
lot of them.
dots until like just now that I might have a little bit of trauma hidden deep away for
Oh
bulldogs.
boy.
Snubble triggered your fucking PTSD.
Oh man.
I could waste our entire podcast talking about the random things that scared me as a kid.
Horrifying.
Horrifying. I've actually had a pretty funny experience now in hindsight with screamers because since I got access to the internet at a young age, very bad move.
Very bad move.
So and so one thing I watched and I liked Dragon Ball at the time because I was catching it every once in a while on like I think it was Nicktoons. And around the same time, I found out about Team Four Star's Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Oh boy.
And it was like pretty early. And I remember I would like click around and watch a ton of episodes. And since child me didn't know how to read channels properly, I clicked on one and I was expecting, same thing. I'm about to watch some pretty funny stuff. And then like the intro's done, and then just like a screamer just appears out of
Oh
nowhere,
no.
just this big faced and just loud screaming. And I literally fell out of the chair and like crawled away from the computer. Because I was just a dumb kid. I didn't fucking know what was happening. And then it
God,
just scared the shit out of me. And I just like, I closed everything and I ran out.
I get that. When I was a little kid and I was like looking up like creepypasta shit, I found like a Tales doll website
Mhm.
with like the fucking the ancient Tales doll theme I probably couldn't find these days if I tried to look for it. But it just played in the background the whole time and I kept clicking on different videos there and it was like a little kid me. I was like probably maybe like 7 or 8 and I
Right.
had to like duck under the computer and like look up slightly to move the mouse because I was too afraid to stare at it.
Yeah.
Dodging
So
hands.
I was too intrigued to stop.
Yeah.
Proper precautions.
But we want to go into something that really like fucked me up as a kid that still
Yeah.
kind of messes with me to this day. Uh my first console I ever owned was a PS2 when I turned 6. I loved a bunch of games for it. I was big into stuff like Ratchet and Clank. And oh boy, games around that era kind of had this weird trend where whenever they had a watery area, their solution to you swimming too far out was always had to have a giant insta-kill fish devour you whole. And this was the thing. It happened in that. I'm pretty sure it happens in Jack and Daxter.
Yummy.
Yeah.
It's just their solution is to murder you. So I never felt safe in the water in any of those games. And because of that, to this day, I don't feel safe when I see water that I can't see the bottom of.
Oh,
I think you
I
just got
feel that. I feel
you just
that.
got psyoped by the government.
I mean,
You just got psyoped into not going past the water.
when I played Spyro as a kid, Spyro would literally like fight for his life as he drowned getting in the water if you went too far. And
Yeah, I
that
remember
messed
that.
me up because I'm afraid to drown.
I was already swimming by that time, so it didn't like fuck with me too bad. I was
I
just
don't
sort
know
of
how
like,
to swim.
you like, how are you a
What?
fire breathing
Yeah.
dragon and you can't swim?
I don't know
You
how to
don't
swim.
know how to
I don't
swim?
know how to swim properly because I'm too dense. So I've always
And black.
sunk, and I've only had pools that I can stand up in. So I can realistically swim, but I can't swim properly. And
I
so
can
I just
doggy
don't
paddle.
swim. I can doggy paddle, but
I
like
just doggy paddle.
I don't
That and, like the butterfly one where you like swing out your arms.
I also don't have good I can't hold my breath for very long because my lungs are pretty poor. So doing stuff like going down water slides and you just end up in a random part of the pool that you don't know where you are, and I it gives me a kind of small panic attack and I might drown.
Oh man, stay out of the water.
I do.
Which is really funny because of the state you live in.
Yeah.
You need to move to like Montana or Idaho or something. It's the landlocked nowhere where there's no water.
That's when I'll really drown.
Yeah, that's when you'll drown at the Hilton Hotel
Anyway, I'm
on
scared of a lot of
December
things.
12th. I actually have a bit of like an anti-scare story.
What?
It's actually one of the more stupid things that's happened in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I met my girlfriend like years ago, and we like to hang out a lot, and we would like just have like I think it was top 15. I think that was like Chills. I think before he rebranded, I think it was. And so we'd have that on in the background. And then one day we decide, we're committed to this. Let's do the thing. And the thing we had in the background was top 15 Chills. So long story short, I cannot take a single Chills video seriously because I lost my virginity to one in the background.
Oh my
And
god.
so every single time I hear Chills' voice, I cannot get scared about whatever the fuck he is talking about unless I pay super close attention. Because the only thing I can remember was, oh yeah, this was in the background when I got laid.
Curve, no.
That's
I-
it.
No.
We fucking in the children.
I kneecapped my fear
Oh my
of
god.
anything that Chills talks about just because of that.
God damn it.
Maybe in hindsight, maybe we should have put something else in the background, but
Yeah, maybe.
maybe.
There's nothing more sensual than a Chills video.
There's nothing more central than a Chills video. Hearing number 15.
Number 15.
Number 15. Put on some clothes.
Sex is a filthy, disgusting act, and you should be ashamed.
Oh my god.
So yeah, there's a story I had in like my back pocket for quite a while. So that's like an anti-scare story, which is, I think it's a good thing for me because I probably would have gotten the shit scared out of me if I saw those videos at the time.
Curb's resistant to like internet horror now.
Yeah, just because I got laid. That's the key method, folks. You scared of something, just put it on the background while you get laid. You will never be afraid again.
I know if we're talking about video game mechanics, that's kind of spooky. Fog.
Moving on.
Fog always messed with me as a kid because I don't like not being able to see things. That makes any sense?
Yeah.
So it's the
I
same
hate driving
vibe
in
as the
fog.
water. But if I'm just walking and I'm alone, and I can't see that far in front of me, that's red flags everywhere.
I ain't going nowhere.
That's not good. I'm not good. We're not good.
This ain't happening.
This is not good.
Man, I can't blame you. I've biked in the fog before, and it's fucking terrible. Because it's like, oh, I'm going. It's that like that notion of I don't know what's ahead of me, and I'm also going really fast.
Yeah.
So I might just like run into a car because I couldn't see the crosswalk.
I don't really know of any like games I played as a kid that freaked me out. It's usually when I found the internet and I just went exploring is when I got too curious and flew too far to the sun.
Too far.
Too far to the sun. I know I got freaked out by the in the Battle Network games. I got freaked out by the Undernet as a kid. That's just because it was like hell. And I'm like this is spooky. I don't like this.
You go to hell before you die.
Those people are torrenting. I need to get the fuck out of here.
As we all know, only terrible people torrent.
Oh, that was an iconic level of Mega Man. Mega Man enters the Red Room. God.
Oh man. In terms of games that I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure there was a few that did scare me, but I'm trying to remember a few at the moment. I think I remember being scared of one of the games that it's actually one of my favorite games of all time now. I think it was Black Ops 1. I was just watching my cousin play it, and I was a little bit sheltered, so I didn't have as much experience when it came to like first person shooters. Nowadays it's sort of all I play besides basketball. But back then, I was most interested in campaign mode. And so in Black Ops, there's like this mission where you've been captured by the Vietnamese, and then they're like trying to get both of you to play like Russian roulette. And one of the characters is like, "Oh yeah, I refuse," like a badass moment, and then he just gets beat to death with a pole, and that got like ingrained in my memory, and I was scared as shit. We were just like, "Oh man, should I even be here? I should probably leave. This is a terrible idea." They just fucking killed them, and then later on, I replayed the game, and I was like, "Yeah, rip."
F.
So not exactly a great image to see as a kid, just like someone being beat, literally bludgeoned to death with a pole.
Curb's like, I'd have done it.
It's like but nowadays it's like if I was there, I would have handled it. But
Personally,
This is
I
how
wouldn't let that
I
happen
would've
to me.
handled
I
it.
would have personally handled it. I wouldn't have taken that disrespect. Just saying.
Yeah, I would have killed them all with like one hand tied behind my back. Would have been
Yeah.
fucking cool and epic.
Yeah,
and
I would have
cool.
pulled out my katana.
Yeah, I would have started dual wielding katanas. I would have entered Super Saiyan 3. Would have been over in like 10 seconds.
It would have been over in 10 seconds. Trust. The camera wasn't on, so you can't fact check me.
I was blindfolded, and I still
Blindfolded.
won.
And then I got the entire I couldn't came up with them. I was just gonna say an entire female cast. The
The controller was upside down. Wasn't plugged in either.
controller's upside down. Wasn't plugged in. Doesn't count.
Does
Cope
not count.
seed
Yeah.
ratio.
These days, I freaking love horror video games, but it took me forever to ever actually touch one. Like, it wasn't till freaking junior high when I finally played Resident Evil 7. And
The
you know,
Resident.
I freaking love that game now. In general, Resident Evil is my favorite horror video game franchise.
I can
It's
tell.
freaking great. You shoot the zombie, you go pew pew, you punch
The
a bullet.
zombie say "Roar," and then you shoot him again.
Oh my god.
Sometimes you even go, what the?
What the?
Only when you're Leon.
So I was knowing now that you have context, right? I was the
Right.
one in my Skype friend group that everyone wanted to see play a horror game because they knew
You were me. You were me.
I wasn't up to it.
You were just like me.
And so they had me play some weird, ugly, like maze horror game that I can't remember what it's called. But you're like walking around, there's something following you. It feels like a generic, just Japanese horror game. And you just gotta like find the keys in all these rooms and get out. It was traumatizing. Because they kept wanting me to continue. I'm like, I don't want to play this game.
I don't want to do this no more. That's too damn bad.
But it was fun. And that's when I like learned that I personally alone wouldn't seek this stuff out, but if I watch something spooky or play something spooky with a friend, that makes it better. So playing like zombie survival games was fun. I remember when the Sci-Fi Channel would play just awful, terrible, spooky movies. They're like sci-fi horror movies that were really bad.
Sci-fi.
And so I was on, it was a thing in the past, really. I was on the phone with a friend on a physical house phone watching the same movie over cable and just talking about it.
The phone bill must have been killer.
God, I did that same shit as a kid. But for me, it wasn't for horror. This is gonna be awful. When I got into Minecraft and I started
no.
watching Yogg's cast, I would
boy.
like call my friend between videos. Disgust.
Average Yogs cast enjoy.
God, but that's not horror. They're not scary. They're British.
Or are they? I mean, there you go. Content warning for like the one Irish guy that we know that's gonna watch this video.
Content warning.
Mentions are
Bracket,
British.
bracket.
It's a different kind of horror.
God.
Body horror.
Wait, did you say favorite kind of horror?
No, it's a different kind of horror.
Yeah, and I said
Oh.
body horror because terrible teeth.
ARG, you are British.
Oh, I freaking love ARGs. That's one of the things that got me to like settle down with my fear of horror shit. Was I started to get really into like YouTubers like Nightmine deconstructing like horror YouTube series.
Oh yeah.
I always love those. All the Slender ones were great. Obviously the best one though is Lasagna Cat.
Lasagna Cat.
Yeah, that one's great.
Terrifying.
John Arbuckle
Terrifying.
too.
Actually terrifying.
John Arbuckle 0.
I used to be really into cryptids as a kid. That was like my thing. And that's I would just like look around on the internet for just information about them. I'd watch Bigfoot hunting shows and scare myself as a kid because I would do it because they would only come on late at night.
Yeah.
And then I'm alone watching it in my room, making the worst decision of my life because now I can't sleep.
Kami's about to hunt down the Sasquatch.
I love learning because I love learning about animals, and cryptids felt like in the realm of creepy, mysterious, alluring way. I have a book on my shelf over there. It's like a cryptid hunter's storybook from like when I was in middle school. I found it and stole it from a library. Don't tell anyone I did that. But it's over there on my shelf. I love just learning about that kind of stuff. And weirdly enough, you know, obviously, it terrified me to learn things I shouldn't have learned. Chupacabras freaked me out.
Please tell me you didn't watch Finding Bigfoot.
Oh, I did.
No,
I did.
You
Did you ever find them?
Watched
I
the
found
fun show where like the southern guys are like, we found a psychic.
I found both.
Sasquatch."
I watched both.
I forget what that one.
Mountain Hunters, I think, is what they're called.
Yeah, that one. That one's way better because
It was
feels
hilarious.
it feels like a wrestling thing.
It
where
does.
They, like, make plot lines, and it's like they shot Bigfoot.
They shot Bigfoot.
The Bigfoot Hunters
Now
is
he's gotta go
literally the
one-on-one
same
with the
episode.
Undertaker.
Every episode. That made me
It's so
upset
good.
because I recognized it as a kid. But I
I
watched those Animal Planet. Well, I think it was Animal Planet or History. I think it was Animal Planet. The like lost tapes they had where they tried to do like found footage, creepy stuff.
Holy crap! We found we found it. We found Kame.
We
All
found
of
the
the,
fucking pee pee poo poo man.
The mermaid hoaxes and stuff. All that.
Oh god. I can't take those seriously.
You know,
the only one I like is the one with the that feels like a wrestling show, because that one feels fake enough that I can enjoy it. All the other ones I just feel like I'm watching something meant to trap people not as smart as me.
Yeah, you're like,
No.
wait a minute, this is insulting.
You know, speaking of wrestling, as an aficionado here, I watched wrestling since I was a kid. Oh boy, were there things that scared the shit out of me.
Oh.
Oh boy.
If it's
like,
not
take-
about Mr. Worm Eater.
Oh, the
me.
boogeyman. Oh boy, no, trust me, I'll get there. But one of the most infamous ones actually came from a friend of mine because I was spending a time over at his place, celebrating something, and we were watching old wrestling videos. And there was one with it's one of the most infamous matches that it's so bad that WWE is like they kept it in the match in, but the post match angle was cut out of every single version they've released of it. So what happened was it was the Undertaker versus the Big Boss Man in Hell in a Cell, and I don't remember who won, but at the end of the match, Undertaker just like grabs Big Boss Man, and no joke, he hangs the Big Boss Man.
Yo.
Obviously, there was like some sort of attaching thing in the back, so you wouldn't actually hang him. But we were seeing a man being killed live on video, and I just looked at it. I was like, "Is he okay?" And he's like, "Oh God, he's dead." And the worst part about it is watching it. Then, yeah, the Big Boss Man, the wrestler, the guy behind the character, was dead at the time.
Oh my god.
So for the next week, I thought that he died because of the Undertaker. I was like, "Oh no!" Oh no!
That's wild.
I mean, oh man, yeah. There were some other pretty scary things. Like some of them were just like, "Oh God, he's gonna do it." Because I was a big John Cena kid when I was a kid. Because you know, if I had the money, I would have bought every single John Cena shirt. I might do that
course.
right now.
Oh no.
I'm gonna pull up Pro Wrestling Tees right now. But I loved him so much, so I hated Randy Orton,
Oh
who was
boy.
his like enemy. And I think this is the right one, where like Randy tries to like he puts John Cena's head on the fireworks and tries to blow his head off, and that scared the shit out of me too. I was like, this is murder.
Girl's like, no, you can't do this. Someone stop him.
Someone stop him. What about hustle, loyalty, and respect?
Stop! He's already
yeah.
dead.
I will say though, there were a few things that were scary that I didn't get to experience. Like I can assure you, if I watched Kane's debut at I think it was a Bad Blood in your house. If I watched Kane debut, if you look up that video, he looks legitimately scary. is
Yeah.
shit. If I watched that, I would get scared. But
I was
a lot of
terrified
the
of I was terrified of Kane,
oh yeah.
but when we went to see it live one time, I was too small to really remember. He was
Right.
there, and my dad bought a little mask for me to wear, and
Oh,
suddenly I loved him.
that's sweet.
It was great.
Yeah.
Oh,
To be fair though, with wrestling, most of what I saw wasn't that scary. I mean, there was those one or two things where I mostly got into like the horror stuff. It wasn't really scary because it was cheesy as fuck. It's
yeah.
Lucha Underground. Trust me when I say like you guys have I've shown you guys a few episodes of it. There is so much cheesy horror in Lucha Underground. It's great. It's like a B grade horror film with really great lucha libre. It's so great.
That's actually great. I've only seen the first episode, and I immediately picked up on the fact they were trying to basically do this cinematic drama with
Yeah,
wrestlers, and I was like, "What's going on? This is
oh,
great."
it's amazing. There's people get killed on screen in the ring. It's awesome. As much as I'd love to go indefinite, it would spoil a lot. But there is a lot of death and a lot of
There is a lot of death.
just a lot of death. It's awesome. It's the greatest thing ever. Oh man, wrestling's one of those things where you can make it fun, you can make it scary. It's awesome. It's just awesome all of the time. But yeah, on a side note about the boogeyman, yes, he did scare the shit out of me, which was
Good.
yeah.
I hated looking
He
at
was-
him.
Yeah, he was scary as shit, but nowadays I respect him. He's like sort of one of those you don't know what you have till he's gone.
Yeah,
And every single time he makes like a one-off appearance, I'm like, that there he is.
there
He
he
scared the
is.
shit out of me.
I remember my
Yeah.
dad could do like the Undertaker eye roll thing,
Oh, the eye roll.
and that freaked me
That
out
always scared
because
me.
the first time the Undertaker showed, like I saw him. The first time I saw the Undertaker, I was like in between being scared and also in awe because he was huge and intimidating.
6'10".
And I saw him do the eyeball thing, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's freaky!" And my dad's like, "Look, I can do it too!" And he goes, "Bleh." I'm like, "Ah!"
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
no.
I've been kind of quiet through this, but my wrestling knowledge is like -2.
It's negative too, but that's okay. And my last thing that I want to harp on when it comes to wrestling was one of the best, most underused gimmicks, and he might be coming back today when we record. But it was the original Bray Wyatt
Yeah,
because he scared the living shit out of me, and I was like a teenager.
yeah,
So by
same.
this point, you're in that era where it's like nothing wrestling can scare the shit out of me. But the thing about Bray Wyatt is that every time he would show up, they'd have like this giant guy, Eric Redbeard now, but he went by Eric Rowan.
Yep.
This giant guy in like a axe murderer type of suit, and then with the mask
The
of like a
mask.
lamb, and it just stood there with like a rocking chair, and there was just a quick like a distorted sound, and then the lights all went out, and then here comes this like guy with a lantern just slowly walking with two absolutely terrifying guys. Rest in peace, Brody Lee, but he was one of them. But holy that they always scared the shit out of me, even after people like got over with him and they would like hold their flashlights up to his
Yeah.
entrance. He always still scared me because he just comes out of nowhere. Because like it was like that little sound effect that was just like
Yeah, it was
and then
the
oh,
transition.
yeah, the transition because it would just come out of nowhere. And it
I
would
loved
scare
it.
me every single time. And then he would do the thing where he would get in the corner ready to like finish him off, and he would like face the ring ropes. He would grab them and then he would like
Tilt
arch
back.
backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, the arch backwards. And then he would just beat up my favorite heroes all the time.
What a dude.
Yeah. Too bad too bad he ended up like really getting his momentum killed because John Cena lol.
Yeah.
I was always like, yo, he did it, my hero.
It's always
yeah.
great when they know they've got something good.
Yeah, because man, Bray Wyatt, man, he was good. I didn't see any of his stuff with the Fiend and also the Firefly Funhouse, which I need to watch. But when I was a kid watching Bray Wyatt just show on a show where they had like a tag team or no, it was a tag team. It was Jack Swagger doing his like I hate Mexican shtick which was really funny. You had, the good old Rey Mysterio, John Cena, the good old boys, and then you would just have out of nowhere this like Southern Gothic character just come out of nowhere with a lantern, just slowly approaching you with two giant dudes wearing like supposedly cute looking lamb masks. It was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, wrestling is cool. 100%. That's my review.
It is very cool. It's just also very big and daunting to get into.
It is very daunting, especially if you try to like treat it as a TV show and you want to start at like 1993, or like if you want to start with Monday Night Raw, you have to go back to like the mid 90s because it's a weekly show. The most I could really say is anyone who wants to get into it, maybe we're gonna get some scary stuff because of the teasers. Maybe tonight, go watch it. But I would just say just jump in whenever you can.
Me and Kurt, we're gonna have to do a spin-off podcast episode about wrestling. Where we just talk
I am
about our
down about
history with
that.
it.
I am down for that. I love wrestling so much. I love it so much. Even the scary things couldn't like keep me away. Because as much as Bray Wyatt scared me, it was always a great time whenever he showed up on TV to just preach to me.
He was always more unnerving than scary.
He was a lot more
because
unnerving.
it was really it would be always out of left field.
Yeah,
And you wouldn't
he would just
expect
show
it.
up.
And when you'd hear it and all lights go out, you would just get dread. Because you're like, this is gonna
you
get
just had the
worse.
dread of what he was gonna
When the
do.
boogeyman would come on screen and the color saturation would go red and he would be eating freaking worms, I was like, what's going on? Change the channel.
Change the channel. I want to go watch The Big Bang Theory instead.
Alright, Jordan.
So,
Anything else that
Jordan,
spooks you? We've been
anything
talking
that
too much.
unnerves you. Yeah.
That's a tough one. I really loved let's go to Cartoon Network here.
Ooh,
I freaking loved Billy and Mandy, but sometimes
yeah.
it would freak me the fuck out. I remember having nightmares from the Chupacabra episode in particular. He like watches it on like a VHS tape. And that was what I watched right before we went to bed.
Child Jordan, like, I'm about to go to sleep. Let me watch this.
Billy
Yeah,
Keeps you on guard.
I also I didn't watch a lot of Courage the Cowardly Dog as a kid because that was too scary for me. But then I looked back at it later and was like, damn, that was based. What was I doing?
Yeah.
So I had the opposite thing where Billy and Mandy was something I didn't watch because it looked scary, and also I couldn't watch because my parents didn't like it. But Courage the Cowardly Dog fit in the realm of looking like it was going to be a good show because they never sat down and watched it with me and didn't realize it was freaking insane. So I would watch like every Courage episode I could, and it was just it impacted my life.
The things I do for love.
Cox gun.
No, I love that show. It has some like genuinely like heartbreaking episodes, some like, heartwarming ones. I freaking love my favorite episodes are the one about his like parents and the one where he's not perfect.
I always think
Just like
about the cats.
Yeah.
Where it's the little like the cat lovers and he has to get them on a train.
I think it was a cat and a rabbit.
Yeah, cat and a rabbit.
Interracial marriage, cringe.
That's the one that sticks with me.
You relate to it.
And then a bunch of home invasion ones were always freaky.
Home invasions are never anything I can handle when it comes to media.
Honestly, the new "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared" show that just came out during this. I'm the only one here who's seen it.
Yeah.
It kind of just feels like a more adult spiritual successor to Courage, where every episode is just someone invading their home, putting them through awful stuff.
Oh no.
With a lot of like comedy. It's really good though. That show is top tier. That's one thing that freaked me out. I watched the first one on YouTube when it came out, and I was so scared. And nowadays, whenever I rewatch them, I just laugh. Like they're so funny. It's like my thing. I fucking love how like weird and creepy and just hilarious they are.
Man, those always weirded me out. But what was it? Don't hug me, I'm scared. Always weirded me out. But I thought it was quality. I don't remember too much of my time with them. I probably was scared shitless, and I don't remember.
I remember when I was a kid when I found them, because there's always that point where you stumble into the little like depths
To the void.
where salad fingers, don't hug me, I'm scared, and then other absurd things that you find. I wasn't freaked out by don't hug me, I'm scared. I was just very weirded out by it. And then the more crazy things that happened, my brain just like would short circuit and I would just close the tab. So I never really fully experienced it until I was an adult. And I was like, oh, this is insane. Okay. That's cool. I hate salad fingers with a passion though. That freaking that makes me want to vomit. I hate that. It's everything I dislike. I hate it as a kid. I hate it now.
Yeah, I never watched Salad Fingers as a kid.
I never
but
watched it either, and I still don't want to.
I mostly, when I watched creepy stuff as a kid on like YouTube or like Newgrounds, it was just Sonic related. Like I said earlier, it was a lot of Tails doll. I was big into just like creepy pasta in general, and one kid was like, hey, do you know what Jeff the Killer is? He's like a pale guy and he kills
It's
people.
me, Shaq.
I was like, whoa, what the fuck?
It's me, Shaq. I'm about to tell you about Slenderman.
It's me.
It's me, Shaq.
It's
Now you
me,
see
Shaq.
Slenderman? He's 9
Oh,
feet tall.
I
He's scary
fucking-
as shit. I backed his ass down.
I fucking love Slender Man. He's
I
my
love
boy.
Slenderman, but I beat his ass on the court. No cap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Papa John's.
Papa John's.
Papa- Yeah, me and my boyfriend, the general.
I was gonna say the general car insurance, baby.
Me and the general.
Uncle
We're gonna
General.
hook it up, and then we're gonna dunk on that bitch ass Slenderman.
We're going to the
Yeah,
court.
you know, it's gonna be a basketball game. It's Shaq and the General.
It's
versus,
like-
Jeff the Killer and
Oh,
Slender.
It's a
like
horror
Space
movie
Jam
spin-off of Space Jam.
3.
Yeah.
Space Jam
Yeah.
3. Space Jam 3.
Oh, can we get the creepy pasta land cast in? They're Shaq's allies. We're gonna have like Ben and George Lopez. He's got to be there.
Shaq
Oh,
1-on-one
George
versus
now.
Mephiles. Mephistopheles.
Get Lopez in.
I need to
George-
see. I need to see Shaq dunking on Mephistopheles. That guy.
Yeah. George Lopez, he like runs in at the end. He goes, "I got this."
And then
then
Shaq
fucking,
throws him the ball, and then he gets like that.
Yeah, Shaq
That
like
slow
sprains
down.
his ankle midway through
Yeah.
a shot, and then like
He's
he
like-
sees George Lopez coming out of nowhere on the court, and he tosses
He's like,
it.
Pass me the ball. I got these.
He freaking dunks it. And that's when Shaq
Warner
learned to let
Brothers,
go.
if you're listening, we will take 20% royalties.
I just want to be in the stands of the movie. If Shaq falls on me and crushes me to death, that's fine.
That's the new
Oh.
creepy pasta. You're the victim of Shaq, and you make people die of Shaq crushing.
The Shaq incident.
The Shaq incident.
He like dunks on the rim and breaks it, and then the rim just falls on you and you die.
The Shaqeting, no.
The
The
Shaq.
Shaq.
No.
It's just Final Destination, but every death is caused by Shaq.
All right. Well, it looks like we're starting to run out of time.
We
here.
gotta.
We're
So,
running out of time.
I think I'll just stop by like posing a question here. If you liked this video, why don't you say something that freaked the fuck out of you as a kid? You know, there's got to be something. Tell us your fears. Tell us your
Tell
secrets.
us your
Tell us
fears, your
weaknesses.
secrets. What's your home location? What's
address.
your credit card information? Do you like Shaq? I don't know if you do.
Do you like Shaq? Don't forget.
The general.
Don't forget me and my
Don't forget
boyfriend.
me and the general.
Me and the
We're gonna
general.
hook you
Yeah,
up.
me and the general.
Uh,
Oh.